welcome back to my channel, or if this is your first time here, thanks so much for stopping by today. For today's video, I have my second look that I'm going to do with the Plush Like Me ColourPop collection. Basically, I've got the palette and the entire collection that goes along with it. So if that sounds interesting to you, why don't we go ahead and get started? So basically in the first video I played with more of the like purples and pinks and whatnot that were in this palette. So in this video I want to play with the grungier colors. You've got like a real cool green there, you've got your brown, you've got kind of a mustardy yellow kind of color there. And this is like kind of a deep burgundy kind of color right here. So I thought that we would go ahead and play with those shades this time. And like this shade right here, I didn't play with in the last look either, I don't think. So I'm going to try to basically use all the shades I didn't use in the last look. I don't know why I'm just really drawn to this palette. Maybe it's because it's like more about the 90s, and you know, that's kind of, those were not my glory days, but I was in high school in the 90s and college in the 90s and all that. So, you know, that played an important role in my life, I guess. So I'm more drawn to this palette for some reason. So there you go. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I've already put on my eye primer, which is my Ulta matte eye primer in the shade Nude. I'm going to go ahead and set my eye real quick. Not that I need to, but since this shade is in here, I'm going to use it again. And I'm going to use a Morphe X Jaclyn Hill JH, wow, I think that says 33, but I'm not 100% sure. One sec. Yeah, JH33 right here. Okay, and I'm just gonna dip into this shade right here called Runway. And it's just like a beige color. Since it's in here, I'll use it. I don't normally set my eye base, but like I said, since it's in here, I'll use it. And I did use it in the last look too, but you know, whatever. Might as well get more use out of it, because there's a lot of it in this. I know I mentioned, if you haven't seen the other video, I did mention that these pans are like the full-size pans, like what their singles are, which I've noticed they've done with a few palettes. They did it with the Limoncello palette, they did it with the Tinkerbell palette, and they've done it with this palette. I'm not sure if there's any others that I've missed. Alright, so let's see. Next up, I'm going to dip into Depp right here. And it's spelled D-E-P-P, like Johnny Depp. So I'm going to dip into that shade. Actually, no. Let's dip into Slip Dress first. This kind of mustard yellow. Let's dip into that first. I'm going to start that on the outside and see just how deep it is. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a little deep. So I'm going to start that on the outer portion of my eyelid, of my crease. It's just a lot deeper than I expected. Okay, keeping that in mind, let's dip into Flannel right here, and we're going to go in the outer corner with Flannel. And I fully expect this to be deeper than it looks in the pan. I'm still using the same brush. Yep, it's pretty darn deep. Okay, and debating. Still need to do a little bit of blending up here, I think. But I think I want to go ahead and dip into Girl Band right here, which seems like it's going to be kind of purplish, but I'm going to put that in the outer corner as well. I just want to see what it looks like. It's like almost a purplish brown. It's a really deep, deep, deep brown. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, let's get like a fluffy blending brush, a really good one. Alright, this is a JH, I think it's a 31. Yeah, JH 31. Okay, I'm just going to try to blend these two colors together. Basically merge them together because they want to muddy up too much. Okay, I think I'm done playing with the deep grungy colors. I think it's time to just dip in and play with the fun colors, and so I'm going to grab a shader brush. Yeah, this will work right here. This is a Jaclyn Hill JH 44. I'm going to dip into TLC right here and put that all over my lid. I'm hoping that's kind of as green as it looks in the pan. So I'm going to load that up on my brush and then I'll spray it. And we shall see how this looks. Okay, yeah, it's green. So that's good. Okay, so that's that eye. I'm gonna have to do the other eye off camera and I'll be right back with you. Okay, so I am back now. So this is how we're looking. It's kind of a mishmash of grungy colors mixed together, but I think that it will all work once the final look is complete. So what I'm going to do is going to go off camera and do we'll clean up the fallout that I have and do my foundation and my concealer. Then we'll come back and finish up the lower lash line and inner corner. And then we'll play with one of the blush sticks and we'll play with one of the lip liners and one of the lipsticks. So I will be right back. Alright, I am back. So for my lower lash line, we are going to go into the shade Depth right here. This grungy, I don't know, grungy brown shade. That's what I'm going to use on my lower lash line. So for that, I'm going to use a JH, can't read it, JH, wow, still can't read it, 52. Alright, it's just kind of like a pencil brush. So I'm going to dip in there, super powdery, so I'll make sure to tap it off and just kind of stamp it on down below. Because I really like that shade. It just kind of started to get a little muddy when I was blending it on my upper lash line. But I think it's a really cool shade. There we go. And now I don't really have an inner corner highlight unless I just did like this matte, but I don't even think that that would really brighten it up that much. So I'm going to use the highlighter that I'm wearing, which is Lunch Money by ColourPop. This one is almost gone, but don't worry, I have a backup. So for that, I will use a Yeah, I can't read that. I think it's a JH42, but I'm not. Yep, JH42. So I'm going to dip into Lunch Money and put that in my inner corner just for a little bit of brightness. Even though I don't even think we did this back in the 90s. I don't think we did inner corner brightness. It was all about the grunge. But I think that looks good. Looking good. Alright, so let's see what blush stick we want to use. In the last look, I used So-Called, yeah. So I used So-Called in the last one, which was kind of like a, I don't know, like a berry. And it looked really, really good. So now, we have 3 others to choose from. We have, oh, Winona Forever. Oh, this was the scary one. This is the red one. Yeah, I don't think I'm brave enough to do the burgundy one. Although, I don't know, maybe. Actually, maybe, because we did do kind of burgundy blushes back then. So there's Winona Forever. There's Mall Rat, which I think was a little bit more neutral. Yeah, that's really neutral. Which is actually probably more like what I would have worn back then. Yep. And then Skater Boys. Then there's Skater Boys. That's kind of a mauve shade. We're gonna go for it. We're gonna go for the really bright one. Might be a huge mistake, but that's okay. It's just makeup and it washes off at the end of the night, and it is the end of the night, so it'll be washed off real soon. Alright, so we're going in with the shade Winona Forever, which is this really vibrant shade right here. Let me grab a brush that has not been used. Well, has not been used much. I'm going to use this IBY Beauty slanted blush brush is what I call it. I don't know the technical term. Yeah, this looks like a straight up red. We shall see when we get it on our cheeks. I'm not going to put too much on the brush. I can always go back in and load more up. But here we go. Wish me luck. See, there we go. It's all about moderation and breaking the rules. No, it's all about moderation. I got a hair stuck on my face. There we go. That works. I think I can do more. And it'll still be fine. Just a little bit more. Because I still have to set my face with powder. I do with this. This particular blush stick anyways seems to not dry down. Well, I don't know, maybe it does. But the whole look back in the 90s was everything matte, so we're gonna go with that. So we're gonna get a little bit more color on the cheeks because that's gonna get toned down once I use powder to mattify it. Alright, other side. There we go. Now I think we're good. Okay, now we're going to go in with the Too Faced Born This Way powder. And go ahead and set my face. Might have to put some more highlighter back on afterwards. We'll see. Okay, we're gonna go in with this ginormous JH01 powder brush. It's super soft too. I love it. It just takes a little bit of dab, 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 and you're like done. And see, now that really brought down that color and it's not so overwhelming. It also brought down all of the shine, which is not normally my look. I like a dewy look, but since we're going for like 90s grunge, we gotta go all matte. I especially went all matte back then because I had oily skin and I hated it. I had super oily skin. Now I'm like normal to dry. But back then, super oily, constantly blotting my face or touching up with powder. And I hated it. So I feel for you oily girls out there. I was there once. And it sucked. Because like your makeup would just melt off your face if you didn't blot or use the right makeup. And there were as many, like, I didn't know it, I don't even think there was primer back then. Like mattifying primers and stuff like that. There's so much more now for people with oily skin than there was back then. Back then it was all moisture and like there was oil in everything, I swear. Yeah, we definitely don't have any highlighter left, so I'll just put a little bit on my cheeks with my fingers because I have to have some highlighter. I just can't. It doesn't feel right to not have any highlighter at all. I'll go light with it, but I have to have some. There we go. There's a little bit of a sheen, but not too much. Okay, so now we're going to do some black in the lower lash line. I'm going to use my Pixi Endless Silky eye pen. I've heard good things about this. I recently just picked it up. So we're going to see how it does in the waterline. But that was definitely one way we grunged up our looks was, now back then, the eye pencils were not soft like they are now. We would literally, or I would, literally use a lighter to soften the eyeliner. I would light it, let it cool off a little bit, and then I'd go in to my waterline. And that's how I would achieve this look because otherwise it was too scratchy. Yeah, so there we go. That gives more of the grungy look there with the waterline with black, I think. So let's pick out a lip. And then I'll go off camera and do my lashes. Then we'll be done. Oh gosh, we've got 8 lips to go through. We're not gonna do cake because that's what I used. We're gonna do a darker color. I'm gonna try to remember. I think Plucked was darker. Yeah, Plucked was darker. Plucked is kind of like a berry. Band tea. Actually, a nice just muted brown might work. Band tea right there. It's kind of a muted brown, so that's a maybe. But I really kind of wanted to go dark. Regulate. Was that the other one? No, but that one might work. I like Regulate. I think Regulate was the one I said that was a lot like the shades the color that I wore back in the 90s. Call Waiting, was that it? Call Waiting, yes, it was the darker one. Alright, so I think I'm going to go in with Regulate. So let's see what lip liner will go best with that. Okay. We'll go in with CD as the lip liner. Okay, we're going to go in with Regulate as the lip color. We'll see how they look together. Regulate, let's see. Okay, there we go. Now that's pretty darn close to what I wore in the 90s right there. So there we go. There's a Grunge City right there for you. Okay. So let me pop off camera and do my lashes, and I'll be right back and we'll see the final. Alright, I am back. All I did was put on mascara. I decided with this look I didn't need lashes. I wanted to be able to see the eye look and see the different colors and the grunginess going on. Plus back in the day I didn't wear lashes. Everything was natural, or you know, it was mascara. So for the mascara I used my L'Oreal Age Perfect Lash Magnifying Mascara, which I've quite come to like this mascara quite a bit. When I first tried it, it was, I guess, maybe a wetter formula, and it seemed like more of a natural mascara. But the more I've used it, it definitely gives me more volume than it did originally. But I don't know, I think it also has lash enhanced, what am I trying to say, like conditioners, lash conditioners in it. So who knows, maybe it's been helping my lashes grow and maybe that's why they look better. I'm not sure. But I felt like just the mascara was enough, especially since I did the lower waterline with black. I think that made the, I feel like if I had put lashes on, it would have closed it off a little bit and it would have hidden the eye look. So anyways, this is the final look. So here, let me scoot down a little bit so that you can see the eye look up close and personal. So here you go. Okay, and on this side too. So there you go, that's the final look. I don't know if you've seen look number 1 yet, but that should be up before this one. And I guess if you've seen it, let me know which one you liked better. I'm on the fence because the first one was like more purple, and this one is just giving me those grunge 90s vibes, making me reminisce back to my, you know, teenage and 20s, because what I was in high school, I started my sophomore year in 93, I guess, 92, 93, graduated in 95. Yeah, so I was in my 20s then, in the late 90s, so there you go. That is, you know, this brings me back, all these names and the shades and the grunge and everything else. So I really enjoyed this palette a lot. I think, let me look at it. Did I use every single shade? I think I did use every single shade in this palette. Yeah. No. This is the only shade I didn't use, which it's a pretty purple, so it'll get used in the future. It's a pretty shimmery purple, so it'll definitely get used in the future. That is the only shade I did not use in this palette. So, yeah, and I loved every shade that I used. I mean, you saw that I struggled a little bit with blending This shade along with this shade, they like muddied up together. I think that was just user error, honestly, because when I used this shade down on the bottom lash line, it worked fine. So I think, like I said, it was just user error. I combined two shades that weren't really meant to mesh together. But in the end, I think it all turned out okay. You know, once I brought the shimmer up there, it kind of helped mesh them together. So there you go. That's the final look, or that's the second look. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please consider giving me a thumbs up. That really helps me out with the YouTube algorithm. I am just a tiny little micro channel trying to get noticed by the YouTube algorithm. And I would love it if you would consider subscribing. I have tons of content. I do a lot of ColourPop, so if you like ColourPop, you will be seeing plenty of that on my channel. I'm actually doing a ColourPop marathon, which is just something I came up with myself. I had a ton of ColourPop palettes that I had ordered over the last few months that I haven't had a chance to film with, so I decided that I wanted to try to film with a ColourPop palette like every other day if possible, if not every day. In addition to that, I also have other content in between. I do unboxings, tutorials, reviews, tag videos, hauls, declutters. I just did a major palette collection / declutter. Oh, and I do giveaways. You don't want to miss out on giveaways. I don't do huge ones because I'm still a small micro channel. I'm not monetized or anything, so all of this comes out of my own pocket, but I do like to do giveaways. I do like to give back, and so usually at least once a month I have a giveaway. So if you're interested, you know, if you like giveaways, this is the place to be. Definitely subscribe and ring that notification bell so that you'll be notified of my future content. So anyways, with all that being said, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you are having a great day or evening wherever you are in this world. I hope you are staying safe. I hope you're staying healthy, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. Bye!